So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Rich Clark, and I am the guide to the right path. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I've also been a holistic therapist for many years. Now, I'm going to talk about a actual very referencing about hypnotherapy mixed with the film RoboCop. Sounds a bit of a strange connection, but I'm going to call it. And the actual title is called RoboCop and the Inner Judge, Crime, Punishment, and Hypnotherapy. So first of all, I'm going to explain about the idea of the reference to RoboCop is that when Murphy, who's the character who dies in the beginning, he's then transformed into a machine and he's stripped of all his humanity, his identity, all the things that make him unique. But there are some things which come up in the film. So what happens when your choices aren't really your own? What if when guilt, shame, or programming runs your life? In the film RoboCop, we see a man reduced to a machine, punished, controlled, and programmed by a corporation. And strangely enough, this has a lot to do with the way our minds work and the subconscious works. So, with crime and punishment, the external crime in RoboCop is punishment is society's ways of correcting behavior, which is illegal or illicit or whatever that is. So in this time, it becomes a dystopian future in Detroit where all these people are creating lawlessness and it's rioting. And basically the police are now being run by a corporation. And because of the crime is overran, they create this cop, RoboCop, to correct the crime issues and to have law and punishment and judgment. Now, the issue with internal crime is actually the subconscious, which actually happens with us, is the subconscious punishes you. And because subconscious controls 95% of your mind, it punishes you through guilt, shame, or self-sabotage. So this example is people replay mistakes over and over again, almost like they're being judged and sentenced daily by their own mind. And this can also be done by social conditioning. And this also doesn't help with people who are being brought up in religious contexts or they're being brought up in a very moralistic environment. And also they can also have issues which is linked to schooling, linked to their social environment, linked to their job environment. And all of this can cause issues with this. So when we're looking at RoboCop as a metaphor, Murphy is programmed with prime directives. And these prime directives is he has to hit these prime directives and he has no free will. And this is the issue. Many clients are programmed by their early childhood experiences, strict parents, or trauma. And these early childhood experiences is why they used to say, Sigmund Freud and those people used to say, before the age of 7, most of your issues, which happen as adults, is for your early childhood experiences. Carl Jung said that it actually was more into adolescence. Again, everyone has different viewpoints on this in the psychology world. However, this is very important when we're looking at the way of how we work. Now, RoboCop, his flashbacks is suppressed trauma bubbling to the surface. Now, the suppressed trauma is how he died, what he was dealing with with his family before he died, all these issues he dealt with as being a police officer in a dystopian world full of bad crime. How does this work? And so RoboCop, then his flashes of his memory are these flashbacks, and we have these which are interlinked in our subconscious. So the therapy link of this is hypnotherapy helps access these flashbacks safely and it processes them. And you, as a hypnotherapist, I help rewrite the script for you so your subconscious stops punishing you through the guilt, shame, or self-sabotage. Now, with this, when we talk about accesses flashbacks safely, we call it timeline therapy. So we go into the timeline therapy and we go back to, first thing you mainly say to us is, when was the first time you felt afraid to do public speaking? When was the first time you were afraid to speak up or answer back or why was the first time you got angry? Why does it every time now as an adult you get angry, you get very frustrated, like really het up? And it's usually linked to these things in childhood. Now, the inner judge and self-punishment, which is one of the parts of the title I was trying to explain, is the concept of the inner judge. Now, the inner judge is actually about we have 3 to 4 different ways of how we look at each other, right? And how we see the self. Now, in Freud, he described the ego, the superego and the id. Now, we can also look at it in another way, is we have four faces. We have the face we know about our personal self, which is our inner judge. Then we have the face which we show to a partner or someone very deep towards us, right? Or someone very personal. Then we have the one to our family, and then we have ones to our friends, and then we also have ones to our work colleagues. They can all be like these different characters. It's not a split personality, but we do represent things slightly different, and we have certain worries and concerns. Now, people unconsciously punish themselves. They do this with overworking, sabotaging relationships, and addictions. And this is also through their impulsiveness as well. So, overworking, people overwork because they want to prove their worth. I am not worthy. That's what they feel. I am not enough. So they overwork. In sabotaging relationships, they sometimes feel that they overwork that, or they feel that the relationship is too good because they've seen no good relationships in their life. So they feel that if I can sabotage a relationship before it gets good, I'll sabotage it. And their addictions is something where they have an addiction where something they were suppressed as younger and they come out in different ways. And people have different addictions. Addictions can be ranging on that as well. Now, going back to RoboCop, RoboCop is trapped in an endless cycle of fighting crime. But internally, he's fighting his own punishment. He's trying to understand who he is. He's trying to understand, was he human? Why has he got human memories? And what is that? What is his actual purpose? What is he wants to do, right? And that is where he is fighting his own punishment of why has he become this? Why, where, and actually more in the second film, RoboCop 2, he actually tries to find out more about his family. But he does actually go back to his home in the first one, but he actually goes more deeper into finding out what happened. And he finds out different things about what was going on in his relationship. Also, his partner tries to help him to learn things about himself as well, about who he is, who his actual deep purpose, what is his purpose, what is his actual drive, what is his self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, the hypnotherapy connection is reprogramming the subconscious to replace the inner judge with self-compassion. So when you reprogram the consciousness, instead of saying, I must punish myself if I do this wrong, it's actually to know that this is an example with a client you would have, is that you would actually make them believe that and actually help them to understand and reframe it. And reframing is very important here, is that we give them self-compassion. So if you don't get to do all your work, that you always know you can do as much as you can, that you're leading to a certain level, and that it's actually not just good enough, but it's actually acceptable. You can also look at it from another point of view, is that when something doesn't work out, it's not for you to be blamed. It's that sometimes things just don't work out. This is about your self-compassion. It's also about how you feel that you can help people only so much. And it's very important. And this goes into this one. It's free will versus programming. Very important. So in RoboCop, he slowly reclaims free will by defies his directives, right? His directives are that he has to do certain things, but he starts defying the directives because he knows that they are not correct. And in fact, there's a very good example where you say at the end where he has to defy that he actually has a directive, and to actually know he has to do that, he has to defy the directive through something what is said. And again, you'll see clips of things to back up what I'm saying. And in the same way, clients reclaim their choices. See, you are either choosing your pain and trauma, or you make the choice to change it. And when your clients free themselves from subconscious programming, it is like they are literally a new human being. So when people say people don't change, it's not true. They can change. It's about making the right choices instead of choosing the pain and the trauma and replaying it through the subconscious and punishing yourself. So the therapy takeaway with this is you don't have to live like a robot run by old codes and old frameworks. Hypnotherapy gives you the chance to choose your life differently. So what RoboCop shows us is how punishment and programming can strip away your identity, but also how it can be reclaimed. So if you ever feel your life is running on old scripts of guilt or shame, hypnotherapy can help you take control back. It's about breaking free from that punishment and reconnecting with who you really are. So what would you like to do? Well, you can book a discovery call with me. It's a free discovery call. You go to my website. There's a link in the description on any of the social media platforms I've got here. If you go to the website, you can book a discovery call at www.richclark.net. If you can't understand the website, you can always email me at info@richclark.net. And Also, there's all these different things I'm going to do is I'm going to be providing soon is free PDFs on guides, healing, or mindset. And with this, it's just to understand what is the links to this. So until next time, I shall speak to you soon.